So we are back then for some more F1 on my team, and crucially also back from a season break. If you guys did not see the previous episode, round 2 at the returning Chinese Grand Prix, then I'll leave it linked up in the top right, guys, before we jump into any potential spoilers, which, by the way, I do recommend you check out the last episode because it was absolutely historic. But today we are here in Spain. You can see before we jump into practice, we've got some stuff to get through in terms of admin work. So we're going to jump into it and get through it. So first of all, we had quite a few upgrades planned for this race, and out of all of them, one of them did fail, and you just saw it right there. It was the magnetic compound for the engine. So we're going to go ahead and repurchase that and get it back on the car. Hopefully it will arrive for the next race in Monaco if all goes well. And you can see in the bottom right we've got quite a few improvements coming, which should hopefully help us overtake a few teams around us. We get confirmation of the remaining upgrades arriving, and heading into this race weekend we are looking very, very good, because if we look at the R&D chart, you can see most teams have brought upgrades this weekend, but we've taken a bit of a step forward and we've actually overtaken Alfa Romeo this weekend, and we're now behind Ferrari as we close the gap a little bit. So yeah, we're looking pretty decent, and we've got more stuff on the way which will help us potentially overtake Ferrari and become the 5th quickest team in Formula 1. So we're looking pretty decent. But we now jump into Friday practice, and we're going to jump into the weekend and get into things. And Spain, a track that I quite enjoy. It's a lot of fun in this game, and actually the car felt insane. It felt really strong, competitive, and crucially consistent around here. Now after practice we scored maximum points, and also history. Aaron Barnes, our test driver, levels up from level 1 to level 2 on the Acclaim heading into qualifying. So here we are then, Q1 time, and so far this season, in the first 2 races, we've been knocked out in the first part of qualifying, so I'm aiming to avoid a three-peat of that here today, or a three-peat. I don't know how you want to say that, but you get what I'm saying, a 3 times repeat basically. So jumping into Q1, this was my first time lap in the session, and I want to try and get through on one set of tyres, but straight away here I just make a bit of a mistake. I just take a bit too much inside curb, bit too much gas on the exit, and I end up spinning out of that corner. Now eventually I managed to get the car and the tyres cooled down. We kind of just, regrouped and went again on the exact same stint, exact same tyres, because I had enough fuel on board. So we just went for another lap, another attempt, and this one was actually pretty decent in fairness. And making our way now through the final couple of corners, just making sure we hold on to the car, as I just have a bit of overheating on the rear tyres, sliding through the final chicane. But now across the line, it's going to be a 13.9, and that will give us P13, and at the time that was enough to make us move into Q2. Now I didn't have to go out again for the final run. I kept an eye on the gaps and we looked pretty safe. If you look at Giovinazzi in P17, 0.6 of a second, that looks pretty decent, and we didn't have to go out again. So happy days, and for the first time this season we are into Q2. Now speaking of Q2, this lap right here, the first one, was actually my best one, so let's enjoy it and I'll get back to you guys when the lap is done. So yeah, let's jump into a full lap of the Circuit de Catalunya. And there we go, across the line, and to be fair, it wasn't too bad. A 10th quicker than the Q1 lap we did, but still not perfect. There was more pace in it. I went out for a second attempt, but on that second attempt I just ran a bit wide through 7 and 8, and then for good measure through turn 9. Ooh, that's a bit of a high speed one, but luckily we just about keep it out of the barriers and we just keep the car on the tarmac. I quickly do a little reverse maneuver here and get the car back facing the right way, but that's going to be it for us in qualifying. Unfortunately, realistically though, if we look at the gaps, I probably only could have got P13. Russell and Gasly were a bit too far away and the top 10 were certainly out of reach. So not too annoyed with that one, considering the mistake, because there wasn't a lot more there really to fight for. I do feel like maybe a mid-13, like a 0.5, 0.6 could have been possible, but that would have been a perfect lap. So overall, not too annoyed, and I'll take that P14, best qualifying of the season. But let's see how we get on in the race, and let's see if we can try and bag some more points.
The Spanish Grand Prix has been a permanent fixture on the Formula One calendar for over 30 years now, and for good reason. Do you remember Michael Schumacher's absolute dominance here in that rain-soaked Grand Prix in 1996? That day he took his first ever victory for Ferrari, and we've had many more iconic moments since. The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya, a track that will certainly force the drivers to push themselves. It consists of a very impressive main straight going into turn 1. It's a straight that also offers a DRS zone, so it's likely to be a hot spot for overtakes. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Let's discuss Red Bull. We have a number of changes to the aerodynamic regulations this year, and the signs haven't looked good for them so far in terms of getting to grips with those changes.
It doesn't look promising for them so far. And if the new regs have hit them as hard as we think, well, I suspect they may need a few late nights at the factory to get back on track.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and P2 goes to Daniel Ricciardo, a strong showing from the Australian. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hamilton, Norris, Max Verstappen and Perez, Vettel, Stroll, Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, Gasly, Raikkonen, Martinez and Tsunoda, Giovinazzi, Mick Schumacher, Nicholas Latifi and Nikita Mazepin, Lundgaard, Ocon, and George Russell ends our grid lineup. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Okay, so here we are then on the grid, P13 for us for the Spanish Grand Prix, and a very strong chance at scoring some points this afternoon. The car's quick, I think we've got good pace overall, and I feel like today could be a good day for us, and I really want to try and at least aim for like a top 8, maybe even a top 6, but it kind of depends on strategy and what kind of pace we have. I do feel like the top 4 teams are quite fast at the minute, so it's going to be difficult. So that's why I'm kind of saying like a top 8 maybe. Either way though, in terms of strategy this race, I was thinking about starting on the hard tyre, but we're going to go for the medium. We're going to play it safe. I was debating going for a Bahrain 2.0, but I'm going to go for the medium. I want to try and have some kind of pace in the first part of the race to not let the leaders get away too far, and that gives us a bit of a chance in terms of strategy later on in the Grand Prix. In terms of fuel, I'm running literally 33 laps, no more, no less. I'm expecting a safety car probably, or a VSC, so we'll probably end up overfueled at the end of the race. But still, it should be good fun, no rain expected, and let's jump into it because the one-stop strategy is by far the more favourable. It's not the most action-packed strategy in terms of overtakes, but it will be more effective. So let's jump into it and let's see what happens. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can get a good start. First target is to beat those on the same tyre. Lights down, away we go. Not a bad start, happy with that. Got a slightly better start than everyone else around us. I'm trying to make my car as wide as possible here to avoid losing more places. We're going to have a look around the outside to see if we can get past Raikkonen. We've got Gasly here on mediums as well. Into turn 3 we go. I'm on the outside line. We're going to make it work though. Alonso-esque as we try to get past Kimi Raikkonen. And we managed to cut him off at the inside so he doesn't re-challenge. So good start from us on mediums. If we can just get Pierre Gasly, that'd be great because he's on the same strategy as us. We're going to find a bit of space on the outside here. Can we edge ahead of Pierre? It's going to be close, side by side into 7 and 8. We're going to have to go around the outside here, but we're going to make it work. It's an absolute peach of a move, and we've made it stick. And we're up into P11, a little bit wide there through turn 9, just picking up some understeer as we head down towards the hairpin. Let's try and go single file here and try and slot in. Now, after qualifying, we've got knocked down Q2, but you saw Sebastian Vettel was the only other car on mediums in the top 10. So Right now we are P2 on this alternate strategy, which is what we need.
There's been an incident on track, but officials aren't looking to push for a safety car right now. Just be careful.
Okay, copy that, Jeff. So yeah, like I was saying, we're P2 on this alternate strategy right now. So the target is simple. Just try and run with the top 10. See if we can keep the pace. We'll try and keep an eye on Seb. Maybe we can try and get him later on in the race. Although to be fair, I highly doubt we're going to match an Aston Martin for pace anytime soon. But let's just try and stick with the Ferraris for now, who are on the soft tire. I just can't quite keep up with Sainz right now. We've just been dropped out of the 1 second window. I'm trying to push, but I just don't have enough pace, as we have a bit of a moment and then get crossed up into 7 and 8. Bit of a shame, but it's okay. It'll come back to us once the soft tyres start to drop off a little bit. Let's just try and stay ahead of Pierre Gasly for now. I've just done 3 personal bests in a row, so the pace is pretty strong. I just don't have enough to really lay a glove on the guys on softs right now. Hopefully though, the tyre wear should start now any moment, so I'm hoping to close back up a little bit. I don't want to completely disconnect from the lead pack if possible. Charles Leclerc in the pit lane along with Lewis Hamilton. So some of the AI cars pitting already. A little bit earlier than I thought, but still showing they've got good pace, and we can't really match that. Pierre Gasly closing in here, but you can never quite get close enough. I do a good enough job in sector 3 to open up a gap to Pierre so that I don't have to drain my battery on the straight to defend. Let's try and keep the pace up though. Important phase of the race here. And now the remaining soft runners are going to pit, so that should leave Sebastian Vettel up front by himself. And we're going to move up into 2nd place in this race. Well, let's see what our pace is relative to Seb. Let's see what kind of lap times we're doing. Gasly here closing in. He's going to go for it. I'm going to jink to the right a little bit. We're going to leave some space on the inside, but we stay ahead quite comfortably. Oh, we've got a yellow further back. I think someone's had an issue or someone spun. There's been some kind of issue there. We'll get confirmation shortly, but I think both cars are going to get going again. Just trying to manage my fuel. I'm a little bit concerned I'm using a bit more than I'd like, so I'm just having to do a bit of lift and coast. I'm still able to match my personal best and keep a good pace. Sebastian Vettel is super fast. That Aston Martin is out of our league, so the target is going to be to keep all these cars we have behind us and hope to make the strategy work. I think Sebastian's going to win this race just because of the gap he has and the pace he has on that medium tyre. Oh, that was not ideal. Almost spun the car there. Just didn't attack the inside curb enough. I don't think Gasly will be close enough to challenge here. This straight is too short nowadays for F1 cars to really make a big difference. This has been a scruffy lap so far. Vettel's pace continues to be insane. He's just driving away, man. And we've now got the fast guys behind us. So Ricciardo has arrived. The Mercs have arrived as well. Seb actually pits. We've got 1 more lap to go. Let's see what Gasly does, whether he stays out or pits. Pierre stays out. Right. This should be our in-lap now. Or 1 more maybe. I think we're pitting lap 15. So wherever the in-lap is, I'm going to push a lot. We've got a yellow in sector 1.
Flag.
And behind us as well, double yellow, as we get a warning for track limits. We've got...
The officials are deploying the safety car due to multiple cars being stopped on track.
Right, we're going to pit. Safety car, absolutely massive. Box the hard tyre. This is our chance to get almost a free pit stop. Let's try and push, but a double retirement there. Alpine of Ocon, I believe, and an Alfa Romeo as well. Into the pits we go. That's a perfect entry. Oh no. Oh no. Ah, sped by 2 kilometers. That's not ideal. Can we serve it now? I don't think we can. Damn it. Yeah, we can't serve it now.
Release.
That might just ruin our race.
Strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
So the good news, we're P5, and we don't have to stop again. The leaders do. The bad news, 5-second time penalty could really hurt us. We're going to have to show some real pace on these tyres to drop everyone on the restart and try to pull away. This is huge. Ricciardo's taken the free pit stop from McLaren, so he was the net race leader. He's now behind us. So I believe that puts Seb in the net race lead now. And then Stroll, both Mercedes, and I want to say someone else up there. I think maybe Tsunoda, who knows? They have to still pit. So yeah, I think we're net P2 right now. Okay, so time for the restart. I'm trying to get some temp into my hard tyres, which is proving to be a little bit difficult, as I usually leave it to the last moment to avoid, you know, adding constant tyre wear throughout the safety car phase. Crucially, the rears are warm, and that's what matters. So let's get ready to floor it and let's see what happens for the restart. Get ready. There we go. I would try to pass Stroll, but there's realistically no point. He's going to have to stop.
The track is clear. Green flag.
So we don't really need to pass him right now. We just need to stay ahead of Gasly and Ricciardo. Those two are the targets, but I feel like Ricciardo will probably pass us. I think it's inevitable. As we get a warning for track limits there. Got to be careful, man. If we get that time penalty on top of the one we have, that's going to absolutely finish us off this race. So I really can't afford to get 3 seconds. But yeah, the target here is to try and stick with Seb. I don't think we're going to have to pace. You saw in the first stint how slow we were, but that's the target we've got to try and aim for in this race. As Gasly has a look up the inside there. Just had to avoid going down to the apex completely. And the good news now is no fuel saving required. I can push flat out pretty much. We've got plenty of fuel in reserve, so we can afford to just go all out and no need for lift and coast. But yeah, right now the gap to Pierre, just about 1 second. I'm trying to keep him there. Ideally, I think I probably want to give him DRS because otherwise Ricciardo will pass him quite easily. But we're on 2 warnings now, so I've got to be extra careful for the rest of the entire race, which is easier said than done around here. I don't have the pace to match the Aston Martin, so right now we're just going to focus on ourselves and the fact we have P2. If I'm going to drive away, I've got to do it now because that 5-second time penalty is going to hurt us quite badly at the end. And there we go, the medium runners pit. I messed up the final chicane quite badly. Pierre's going to get the run, so I'm going to have to use a fair amount of DRS to try and stay ahead. You can see he's trying to follow the toe. But yeah, we're now P3. Bottas will pit this lap and that'll move us into P2. And there we go, Valtteri pits. Gasly's really putting some pressure on here. I've got to be careful. You can see how he follows the toe, trying to close in. I'm trying to break the toe as much as I can. He had a look at the inside there. I left the door open a little bit just in case, but we're hanging in there. We're going to drop a load of places though at the end of the race. We are pulling away. If you look at the mini-map, there's a bit of a train of cars heading into turn 3 now. So we do have a bit of a gap there, but we're going to lose about 5 or 6 places though right now. Now what I need at this point of the race, ideally, is for Verstappen or Ricciardo to put a move on Gasly or just battle a little bit. If I can just pull out of DRS range, that would help me out exponentially this race in terms of trying to get a bit of a break up. But for now, we're kind of just stuck here pulling everyone along for the ride. I think we're going to drop down to like P9. I haven't fully counted the cars that are behind me, but I see 4 cars, so that would be P6 actually, not too bad. Here comes Pierre Gasly though again. I'm going to force him to the outside here. I'm not going to drain my battery to try and stay ahead. I'm going to see if maybe Max fancies a little move as a follow-up to that. I'll try and tee him up a little bit. But look at this, man. We're keeping these 4 behind. The gap is growing though to the cars behind. So right now, I think we would finish P6, I believe, in this race, which is still decent. But obviously we're throwing away our potential P2, which is heartbreaking. Uh-oh. Who's on my inside? That's Pierre Gasly. Verstappen went for it there. I saw the arrow just close in, so I tried to close the door as much as I could. Not ideal. I wanted Max to really try and force a move there, but Gasly stays ahead comfortably for now. Personal best from us this lap. Pretty strong pace. Responding nicely. I've still got plenty of ERS as well, so I can afford to really drain it in the closing stages. Hamilton and Bottas are flying now, and the pack behind is catching up. So whoever was at the front of that has now fallen back, and it's now dissolved, and everyone's catching up. So we're going to lose even more places, and we're going to finish lower than P6 today. That's just the reality. There's a lot of laps left for everyone behind to catch up, so we're just going to see if we can try and score points today. That's going to be the target. I can't lie, it's been a boring race in terms of overtakes, but my god, am I sweating this to try and get a result here. I'm pushing so much every lap, every corner, trying to maximise everything and just hope that I can get something. Gasly here closing in again, but he just can't get close enough on this straight. I just saved all my charge for the main one, and that seems to work. Well, to be fair, this has been a bit of a scruffy end of Sector 2, so I need to try and pull this back a little bit in Sector 3 here. As long as I keep getting good exits out of this chicane, which is what I've been doing for most of the race. Like that. I'm happy with that. And then we'll just use the ERS running up to the line. That usually does the trick for us, so let's just hope it's enough. Gasly again, we'll keep trying. Okay, this time he's going for it. This is different in terms of engine mode. He's going to go for it, but we're going to just hold the inside. Again, quite comfortably. But I'm waiting for Max to stick his nose in, man. Oh, Gasly went for it there. That was a bit of a last second lunge. Gap is now over a second. It's going to just give me a bit of breathing room, but it feels like the AI are running full engine power because Gasly is just flying and catching it all back on the straight right now. Personal best, 2.5 tenths up. Quite a strong lap there, but Gasly just won't go away, man. And to be fair, the longer this race goes on, the more I don't mind it because he's keeping Verstappen and Ricciardo and everyone else behind at bay. So it's stopping the floodgates from fully opening. But I think we're not even going to make the points now. Looking at the amount of cars behind me, I think 5 seconds is going to really hurt us now. Okay, here we go. The last exit. This is the one that matters. And it's good. It's very good. Let's just keep using the ERS here. It's the last lap of the race so we can afford to drain it. Pierre's closing in, but I don't think he'll get close enough. We'll make sure he doesn't go up the inside, and there we go. That should do it. Now we just got to try and push as hard as we can for the rest of the lap. This will be a personal best, but will it be enough to keep us in the points? That's going to be the question. Pushing absolutely flat out here on the last lap. Sebastian Vettel's going to win it, so 3 different winners in the first 3 races. I'm just going to stay focused here for a second. That's how I get it through these corners. There we go. That'll do. Let's hope we've done enough to hold on to some points across the line.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
They've done it then. A spectacular victory here in Spain and a massive confidence boost going into the next race. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
I can see them on their way out to the podium now. Aston Martin are really making waves in this sport, and what a special race it was to see them earn the top spot.
Well, there we go then, confirmation of the final race results. Sebastian Vettel P1 for Aston Martin ahead of Pierre Gasly, who finishes P2 for AlphaTauri, and Verstappen P3 for Red Bull. Then it's both McLarens and both Mercedes, and then George Russell P8 for Alpine ahead of Charles Leclerc, and we finished in P10. We scored a single point, and we did it by literally less than a tenth of a second over Sergio Perez. So that last lap, that push that we done was enough because we done a personal best on that last lap by 4 tenths, and that was just enough to keep us in the top 10, and Perez just misses out on the points in P11. So outside of that, along with Perez missing out the points, we have Stroll, Tsunoda, Sainz, Giovinazzi, Lundgaard, Mazepin, Schumacher, Latifi, Barnes, and then Raikkonen and Ocon out of the race. So after that race, we now look at the driver standings, and after 3 races, we are currently in P5. Sebastian Vettel is your new championship leader with Aston Martin. Wow, who would have thunk that? That is absolutely insane. Sebastian Vettel leading the way in the F1 Championship once again. In the Constructors, we are in 4th place, and we have 2 points over AlphaTauri, 5 points over Red Bull, and then 18 points over Ferrari. So we're still holding it down, but probably not for much longer. So yeah, overall, a good day at the office here today. A shame about the penalty. It really, really hurts because we should have finished P2 today and had an extra 17 points, but still, it was my mistake, you know, and I just have to accept it. So yeah, we scored a point today. I would have taken that at the start of the weekend anyway. So yeah, we move to the next one at Monaco, but for now, let's move into upgrades.
It must be gutting to miss out on a podium due to penalties. Do you think it was the right call by the officials?
Yeah, I can't, you know, argue it was my fault. So yeah, you know, it hurts because we tried so hard, and we should have had P2, but it happens.
We all underestimated you, didn't we?
I think the team was underestimated. We worked well together, and ultimately we had a good strategy, good plan, and that's what you saw here today.
That was a close finish. How are things between the two of you?
Good fun. I'm enjoying the rivalry with Sergio right now, and it's actually closer than I thought. I think we're giving him a good run for his money, so I'm enjoying it.
You left a lot of paint on the walls today. Were you struggling for grip, or did you just misjudge some corners?
I don't know. I thought we was okay today. I didn't think it was that bad.
Appreciate your time.
So after that race, we keep it pretty close in the rivalry, but crucially Perez does pick up an extra point, and now the gap is 4 points between him and myself. But still, we're pretty close, and Monaco's next, so you never know, we may have a chance of pulling something back. Some decent acclaim gained all round, and I think we might level up. Yes, we do. So we're now level 15, so we can unlock an extra sponsor, which is awesome, and we can put that on the car for the Monaco Grand Prix, which is going to be really, really good, and that's also going to exponentially improve cash flow as well. So a full payout this weekend, no damages to go with it, and overall things are looking pretty positive right now as we head into the Principality with $15 million under our belt. Now we're back in the main menu, and again that race, apparently we had an ERS fault. There was one moment where the ERS didn't deploy, but literally it was hardly nothing, but we got an extra 400 R&D points, so I don't mind. We'll happily take that. Now we've got an interview on the 18th. We're going to go ahead and do some activities first and foremost, and we're going to fill up this kind of, you know, part of the calendar. So first and foremost, vehicle PR filming, that's always a good one, and then also we're going to work on, I think, a chassis equipment upgrade to improve things moving forward. Now we've had the 2 engine upgrades arrive, so right now I believe there's nothing in the works, so we can go ahead and make some investments. Now I want to keep doing work on the engine, so we've done 2 upgrades as you can see here. I want to add to that, and let's have a look. Do we have any discounts? We've got the ECU on a discount, so I'll probably go for that if I can. Can I actually buy that? Looks like I can actually. I can go ahead and do it before this one, so we'll get that on. That's for fuel efficiency. And then I don't really think we need any more really on that side of things. On the chassis, 2 more upgrades of course, which we know about. We're going to go ahead and get some more. So the plank could be an interesting one for weight redistribution. And then the lightweight wheel rims, I think we're going to go for that plank. Why not? Let's go for it and let's see what happens. And that would take us a bit closer to the top 4 teams on the chassis. The rest of the points we're going to save them, so we're going to move ahead into an interview with Will Buxton, which we'll take care of in the next episode, so let's skip ahead. Now before we wrap things up, we're going to go ahead and get our final sponsor. Now I'm going to have a quick browse of these, have a little look what I fancy, and see what works best for us and our goals, so I'll get back to you once I've made a decision with these sponsors. Now I'm not going to lie, I think it might be time to return to Shark, and our title sponsor from last year's game. Pretty good weekly income, very good goal bonus, and all we've got to do is finish ahead of the team above us in the vehicle performance comparison. It's not looking too bad. I think that is realistically achievable. The only issue is we're no longer towards the bottom, which is going to make things a bit more complicated. So elsewhere, the other one that I do really like the look of, Equinox. Now the reason for that is because it's to score just 1 point during a race weekend, so I think that's quite achievable. We're going to be in the points quite frequently, and it's a relatively mid-length contract as well, so we're going to go ahead and negotiate with them and get them signed up to the team. So there we go, extra sponsor on. We'll try and get that on the car livery for the next race at Monaco, and we'll leave it here guys for now, and we'll pick up in the next episode with the interview with Will Buxton. Until then, hopefully you enjoyed today's episode and another finish in the points. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe for more, and as always, check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them already, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Until then, take care, and it's goodbye from me.